What's up, chosen ones? It's July 26th. No, 27th. And I'm having a lovely morning. It feels weird to not work out at the butt crack of dawn, but I'm forcing myself to rest. It's like almost noon. It's like 20 minutes before noon. The title for today's message is Autarky Amidst Oligarchy. So autarky, I was reading the Thesaurus last night, like a nerd. It's really fun to do it. It's a fun activity for me. I literally do it at nighttime, and it sparks inspiration and ideas. So autarky amidst oligarchy. Autarky refers to independence and sovereignty. And being able to think in your own terms or act on your own terms. The opposite of complacency. Somebody is if they're autarkic, then they're engaging in their own form of their will and headstrong. Autarky amidst oligarchy. So, I've been listening to different podcasts and whatnot, and Schulte and Tim Dillon, Schulte with Akash Singh and Tim Dillon, and of course Joe Rogan, and I think other podcast. I think that's it for the comedian ones. What's like a big topic right now is like the Epstein files being blocked. And then also just if anyone's even remotely paying attention to politics right now and whatnot, it's like, it's pretty obvious that we're headed towards totalitarianism, authoritarianism, and Tim Dillon's a smart motherfucker. Like he was saying, something is eventually gonna happen once, all the food's being poisoned, we're being, lied to, et cetera, et cetera. People are gonna, start to notice that something's up, something's sus, something's suspicious. However, this message also refers to, anyone that is dealing with any form of oppression, which I feel like we all go through our different forms of trials and tribulations. Maybe you feel like it's a boss that's just, busting your balls. Maybe breathing over your neck. Maybe you feel like there's a person in your life that's just, trying to wring out the creativity right from behind you, just, squeezing your shoulders, or, trying to, pull the rug out from underneath you. So it's when this is happening, it's very important that we don't lose sense of ourself, of our identity and what we're capable of, because ultimately abuse, mistreatment, maltreatment, being mishandled, it eventually starts to eradicate the idea of someone's personhood and their livelihood of their identity. And I've been reading a little bit. I'm a quarter of the way through Rebecca Lomov's Brainwashing Hyper-Persuasion. I forget the full title, but it's Rebecca Lomov's most recent book, and it has it's about hyper-persuasion and brainwashing. And something that she said in her book is that her friend told her this sentiment that almost made the author fall out of her chair, and it was that brainwashing erases itself. So sometimes we don't even know that we're starting to do different things or live a different lifestyle or stop doing things because we've been somehow engineered to be a little bit of a lab mouse, or to be normalized in some whatever way. So there's a lot of the doctors who were first speaking out against COVID, and when back in 2020 and whatnot, that was like they were like immediately like whacked, or anyone speaking out against like something of like a government or some type of authoritarianism regime that is attempting to slowly take away like benefits, like or all the regular perks of that we're used to as like Americans, like the big beautiful bill. Like I haven't quite looked into that all the way yet. I'm working my way up to starting to write about that, and I experienced a lot of horseshit from trying to speak my mind on that matter. So it's like there will be intimidation tactics, there will be violence, there will be methodologies taken against a person if they're speaking out against what the oppression is. And so how do we keep our minds, how do we keep our sanity, how do we keep our powerful sense of self underneath oppression? So, you know, it's a title that's referring to independence amidst oppression, and autarky amidst oligarchy. For other people, it can be like an abusive relationship, you know, where they're like, well, why doesn't she just leave? It's like, well, it's not that easy, like, or something like that, you know. There's all different kinds of trials and tribulations that each person is going through. And at times it can be confusing to be like, well, maybe I should just start to become bitter and mean because that's how I've been treated. And it's like, that's the cycle. We gotta stay kind, and we gotta remember to treat each other with brotherly love and affection. So I really liked Colossians 3:12 through 15. Since God chose you, to be the holy people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tenderheartedness, mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony, and let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Colossians 3:12 through 15. Let's see. Something that was coming to mind is that I am darn glad that I started to, that I was playing my guitar and really busking and like, which is where you play in a public space for tips with a like performance of some sort. For me, it was little baritone ukulele and singing my songs and stuff. And at first it was covers, and then I started writing my own songs. And then it all changed. Excuse me. It all changed when Trump was elected, and he assumed his role as president of the United States. That changed everything in terms of the First Amendment rights were taken away. I heard somebody's getting put in jail. Was that on one of the podcasts I was listening to? People are getting put into jail for their tweets. So like that's First Amendment, like that's like violating the First Amendment, and I started noticing that was going into effect, etc. When I was trying to play my music, and the police officers were like, you gotta get out of here, you gotta scram, kid. And so I'm just really grateful that I played my heart out as much as possible, and I made as much money as possible when Biden was in office, because as soon as Trump was in, First Amendment rights were taken away, and I have a harder time now playing my music. And there's a lot more intimidation from the police. I don't know if you saw one of the last videos when I was on, I was wearing leggings and that black tank top and that big beefy heavy-set officer just like walked right through and intimidated me, and I just did my best to like let him do whatever he was doing, and I was so hyped up on my song that I was like having so much fun that I was like, all right, like go ahead, and like the let them theory, you know, and like, but there is more of that intimidation, there is more of that violence, there is more of that stalking and harass, like it's resistance whenever we're like attempting to still be citizens and attempting to like have the forthright will to live out what we're supposed to have as Americans, which is the life of liberty and pursuit of happiness, bruh. And it's disgusting, and it makes my heart heavy. It's sickening that the very core and the very essence of what America is supposed to be is being violated at such a grotesque level. The right to petition, the right to assemble, the right freedom of speech, the right to express religion and practice religion. Petition, assemble, freedom of speech, assemble, petition, freedom of speech, First Amendment. Yeah, man. I think that's all of it. There might be more. Petition, assemble, freedom of speech, expression. So for example, in Tinker v. Des Moines, I think this was during, I think it was like in the 70s, towards the end of the Vietnam War. I think it was 73. There was a group of high school students that were wearing black armbands, and the school said you can't wear that, you can't express, and it was a way of expressing their resistance and being opposed to the war. And it was black armbands in a high school in Des Moines, and a student with the last name Tinker, and then they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and they ruled that once they passed the gates, the students passed the gates of education, they should be free to express their opinions, even if it is political. And so the students won, and so the freedom of expression was upheld, and that was protected. And then here we are again, like what, 50-ish years later, 30, what is that? 55-ish years later, like, we're now seeing our First Amendment rights being revoked, like freedom of expression and freedom of speech with tweets. Like, I heard somewhere that people are being thrown in jail. So it's not to be like totally disheartened because we've experienced having our rights be violated in the past. But it's at a increasingly alarming level at the age that we're at, and so it's like this is an important message, I believe, where hopefully it is instilling inspiration and positivity and like a reminder of how powerful one person's voice is and how powerful like Americans' voice can be together when we stand up against what we know is wrong when they're trying to, when the government is sieging all of our rights. And I'm focusing on the First Amendment rights because that's something that's very important to me. So the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech, freedom to petition, and the freedom of religion, and the freedom of assembly, and the right to assembly, which is protesting. And so these are so important because this is what America was founded on. When the founding fathers were coming together and they said what matters most, the first thing they wrote down, bruh, is that the people, we the people, for the people, by the people. So what is this country supposed to be if we're being ruled by one hombre man who is just playing golf and he's like a 78-year-old like geezer? Like, honestly, we're gonna listen to that guy? He looks like he has a fade of like hair plugs and is like orange from like bad fake tans. I don't want to follow that guy. I don't want that to be the symbol of what we're like looking up to. That's not leadership. That's bullying into making the entire country a e-commerce trade, and to make it all about economics, and he's becoming the CEO of the country, and I'm like, I need you to be the president, upholding what the rights are for the people, and remember that we're still a baby democracy, we're still a very young new country, and we're supposed to let the people live out their American dream, buy a home, find a career that suits them, that makes their heart feel like it's soaring, like it's fulfilled. Not take away the rights and diminish and make it punitive if we express ourselves and our artists or are having an opinion that is different from what is being shoved down our throats. So what can we do? What can we do? What can you do? Galatians 5:1. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery. So let's not become slaves to what they're trying to oppress onto us and trying to embroil us into a new regime of indoctrinate us with a totally new program, a totally new way of living. The big beautiful bill, like, what is this big beautiful bill? Like, we should be very sus, we should be very suspicious, very circumspect, and very, like, studying everything as intently as possible, and standing firm in what we know is right, and not submitting to oligarchy. It's like, that's where it's heading, bro. Like, this is tyrannical behavior. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is make sure that we're still kind people, that we're still good people, that we're still treating others with respect, and treating ourselves with self-respect too, like, and not letting the bitterness and the hatred that is so prevalent in today's society get to our hearts, and not let it erode the goodness in our hearts, in our body, and remain level-headed and stay really headstrong. That's our best bet, is every individual to stay really headstrong. This is what I'm going to leave y'all with. 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So autarky also refers to independent sovereignty and freedom. You will never not have a sense of freedom so long as you have God in your life. John 15:5. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And sometimes it can be scary to, I'm going to leave you with just 2 more verses if you don't mind. If you want to stick around, I hope you're having a good Sunday. And if I haven't introduced myself yet, hi, my name's Kimberly Ponce. Welcome to the Kimberly Ponce where we talk about awesome things literally all the time. If you ever get a little bit timid and apprehensive before speaking out, it's understandable. They are killing people for doing this, and throwing people in jail for a tweet is what I'd be hearing. So it's understandable. However, know that God has not given you a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. 2 Timothy 1:7. And more than anything, too, anything's possible with faith. So if you believe that you can make change, if you believe that your voice can make a difference, and you have that faith from God, and you also have that confidence, nothing is impossible. Matthew 21:21-22. Then Jesus told them, I tell you the truth, if you have faith and you don't doubt, you can do things like this and much more. You can even say to this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen. You can pray for anything if you have faith. You can pray for anything, and if you have faith, you will receive it. Peace out, chosen ones. Stay strong.